Hi, so a few of you have asked how I go about pulling, invoicing, and shipping. And I don't think that I necessarily have a perfect program at all, but this is what works for me, and maybe you guys can give me some suggestions as to what works for you. So what I do is once I've put up all the albums on Facebook, we kind of wait until everyone's had a chance to go through them. I go through and answer questions. Sometimes we start pulling right away. Sometimes we wait a few hours. It really just depends on, how quickly the photos went up. So what we do is we'll start with like the first album. So let's say the first album is, Classic Tees. So we'll go to the Classic Tee album and I'll just start on the first picture. And then we just keep going, picture, picture, picture. And as soon as somebody says sold, I'll type in it's yours and I'll tag that person. And then let's say that Sally Smith got a large classic. So I'll write down Sally Smith's number and then I'll grab a basket and I will go over to my classics, which are right over here. I will pull the item that I need to pull, I'll pull it, put it in the bin, and I stick the Post-it note on top of it. And so you can see some samples right here of things that we've pulled. And then I try and put them in alphabetical order so that as we're pulling, it's a little bit easier. But really, as long as, the beginning of the alphabet starts up here and the end is down here, it usually works out. But for alphabetizing, because you can move the bins like this, it's really so much easier. Then the next day, once all the items have been pulled, the next day we get up and Ronnie and I both work. So we both, go to work unless he's able to stay home. And as soon as we come back, we go through the albums once more. And then, we kind of call it quits or whatever. People usually stop buying after the first 24 hours. And then we stack up a whole bunch of bins in order. I guess order doesn't really matter. And then I bring them over to the computer. I'll sit down at the computer. I'll have my Google Docs open and I'll have Audrey open. And so I will sit down and I will take the first one. And so I find Sally Smith on my Google Doc. I copy her email address, paste it into Audrey, so I'll, do the leggings, whatever, the Classic Tee, whatever it is that she bought. I can look at the Google Doc to see if she's in California, because that's where I live, and so I know whether or not to charge her tax. After that, invoice, boom, and then I put it in a different pile, or I throw it over to Ronnie and I say, hey, it's done, grab the next one, and we just sit and we do these. And then we usually give people like a day to a pay, so then on the third day, or if we're able to invoice in the morning of the second day, we'll be able to sometimes do the shipping that day. It really just depends on the size of the party. And then what I'll do is I will go through the list of people who've paid and I'll shout it out to Ronnie. I'll say, oh, find, Sally Smith. And so then he'll grab hers and he'll bring it, I'll go through, let me start over. I'll go through all the invoices and all the people who've paid, I'll sit down and I'll put that into Shipping Easy. And I look up the address in the Google Doc, so that way I can just copy that cell that I had them write down their first name, last name, their address. Hi, Mia, stay away from the clothes. Stay away from the clothes. And that I can just copy and paste Sally Smith's name, address, city, state, all that, and you just copy and paste it right over into the new order that's on Shipping Easy. And then I put her email, I copy and paste her email address over, and then I also take the order number from Audrey and I put it into the order number that's on Shipping Easy. I don't know why that I do that. I don't know that it serves any purpose. It's just what I do. And I click the button on Audrey that says like shipped.
Marked as shipped.
Marked as shipped, thanks. So that way that tells me that I have already made a shipping label. Then this is Ronnie's job. So I print them all out and I pay for them. and then they come out into the printer. We don't have a dyno, we have, I don't know how you pronounce it, but we just have a printer. And so he prints them and he cuts them and he gets all of the packages. He looks at, he says, oh, you know, Sally Smith. So he goes over and he finds hers, wraps it up, throws the thank you card in there, seals it up, and then we have a big pile and then we ship the next day. So Post-it notes, baskets from the dollar store. We got them from the dollar store. They were super, super cheap. It's nice because they all stack. And do all of your pulling, and then all of your invoicing, and then all of your shipping. If you start to, as you're pulling invoice, it just makes it kind of crazy, because what if somebody adds items? Now, it's still gonna happen. Somebody's gonna, you know, add an item, and then I've got to delete the invoice, and then I've got to re-invoice them. But if I've given them 24 hours, that really, really, really cuts down on the amount of go-backs. Yeah, it means that they don't get their packages the very next day, but the sooner they pay, as soon as they pay, honestly, it takes me 2 seconds to print out the shipping label and get it shipped. That takes no time. So if I don't get to invoice them until the next day, you know, that's just kind of the way it goes. In Shipping Easy, I mark anything that's one pair of leggings. I know I'm gonna mark. I mark as like 8 ounces or whatever, and then I can sort those. So I put all the 8-ounce first class into one batch, and then all the flat rate stuff into a batch. And then I rarely do any of the boxes, because Ronnie's really good at like stuffing he can fit like 3 Nicoles, 4 Irmas, and 10 pair of leggings into a flat rate package. I don't know how he does it, and nobody's complained, so hey, you know. But every so often we'll send out a medium box, and so I'll just kind of do that one separately, so I know to pay for that separately. But that's kind of how we do it. I hope that's helpful. If any of you know how to make it easier, or a step that maybe I could do that would, you know, smoothen things out, I am totally open to suggestions. So thanks for watching.